Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Music Talk Mondays. This is a weekly talk show podcast where we talk about all things related to music. I'm your host, Eddie Lamb. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you guys so much for being a part of this experience. I love sitting down and talking to you guys about all things related to music. We talk about musical instruments. We talk about our favorite bands, our artists, our favorite songs, our favorite albums, and even soundtracks too, which will actually be a part of my topic for today. So I just want to let you guys know, if you want to keep in touch with me, I have a personal website. Of course, it's EddieLamMusic.ca. And, of course, I got social media. You can follow me on Twitch, which we're broadcasting on. You can follow me on TikTok, which I'm also broadcasting on. You can follow me on YouTube, which we're also broadcasting on. And I also got Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So follow me on all those platforms. I would love to keep in touch with you guys. Message me. Say hi. All that cool stuff. Of course, if you want to donate, if you enjoyed my content, I got PayPal. It's paypal.me/EddieLamMusic. And you can donate however much you guys want. You're not obligated to do so, but if you do want to contribute, please feel free to do so. Oh, speaking of donations, thank you so much to the people on TikTok who just donated. Tic Tacky on TikTok just donated to me just now on TikTok live chat. Thank you so much, Tic Tacky. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Eric Watson777 on TikTok, who says, great videos, dude. I appreciate that, Eric. Thank you so much, Eric, on TikTok. So, again, yes, we are live on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. I do this every Monday night, and it's great to be here. Every time, I always enjoy engaging with you guys so much. So, again, I also got Patreon, too. I'll mention that. If you guys want me to do cool things, such as creating like a video greeting for your fellow loved ones, friends. If you want me to wish them a happy birthday, a happy anniversary, happy graduation, whatever special occasion it may be, that's what my Patreon's for, and I can post those videos up there on my Patreon page if requested. Hello, 88 on 88 Westerman on TikTok, who just gave me a donation too. Thank you guys so much for the donations. I really appreciate you guys just being so awesome that way. Now, what else can I say? Okay, yes. So, of course, I want to get some good news out of the way first. I got a TikTok channel, and now we are at over, I think, I'll double check, but I think it's over 24,000 followers now, if I'm not mistaken. 24,000 followers, and it's still growing daily, which is amazing. So, if you guys enjoy my video content on TikTok, I do things such as learning songs on guitar in less than a minute. 3-4 chords in its entirety. You learn that in under 1 minute. That's what I do. I want to make that easy for you guys. So whether you're a beginner who's just looking to learn some songs, or if you're a professional musician who plays in cover bands and you just need some songs to be added to your set list for future gigs once gigs become a thing again after COVID-19 pandemic is under control, that's what my TikTok channel is for. So follow me on there, guys. And I also do piano videos where I play piano renditions of popular songs, and you can use the TikTok's duet feature to sing along to it. Or if you have an instrument, just jam along to it too. Whatever it may be, feel free to take advantage of that TikTok feature. Use the duet feature on there and sing along to my piano videos. You don't have to be a good singer too, guys. If you're not a professional singer, that's okay, because I want this to be a fun experience for people of all levels. So whether you are professional or you're just a beginner that wants to sing casually just for the fun of it, it's a great place for you guys to do that. So please feel free to make use of that. So, of course, like I say, sometimes I go on Twitch or maybe I go on Instagram or Facebook, and I will occasionally just play some music to you guys. So I will play piano, play guitar, and I sing. I'll sing karaoke tracks with you guys, too. So wherever it may be, I do that. And, of course, you just stay in touch with me on my social media, and I will make those announcements whenever I get the chance to make that happen. So with all that being said, so that's pretty much all the business stuff I wanted to get out of the way first. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and we're going to get into our topic. So, this is a topic on soundtrack talk. And last week we talked a lot about wrestling, WWE wrestling, about why the Royal Rumble, a pay per view event, is so good. And part of it is because of music. Just in general, I did watch the Royal Rumble last week, and it was a pretty interesting experience. I did enjoy the like most of it, I would say. But the one thing I just love about wrestling pay-per-views is that the music makes a huge difference. It brings the excitement. And I've emphasized so much about that when it comes to soundtracks. Now, today, I want to talk about one of my favorite video games of all time growing up as a kid. I'm pretty sure if you guys are gamers here too, you probably have played this at one point in your life. That game is Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2, that is my favorite game. It's not just because the gameplay, it's not just because it reminds you of those fun times being a kid and competing with your friends and family members, your cousins or siblings or whoever. It's also the music that brings such a good experience to it too. When you hear the music, you think about those fun times you had. If you had a great time playing Street Fighter 2, that is. But when you play Street Fighter 2, one of the things that stuck out to me big time was the music. Just looking at the comments here. Scott says Final Fantasy VII is a good one. I agree, Scott. James says, okay. James, I will answer your question during the Q&A portion later on today, folks. Yes. So again, this is the way the format will work. Sorry, before I do that. So I will do my topic discussion first, and then after that, then we have open Q&A for the rest of the night. Sounds good? Cool. So, yeah, Street Fighter 2, I think, is just an amazing experience where the music just adds so much to the game. It's what really helps define the game for me personally. There is a market for people who just love video game soundtracks. There is a market for that. And the reason why I enjoy Street Fighter 2 so much is because a lot of these a lot of the background music, which are usually the character's theme song as you fight them in the game, they're all memorable. Like, whose it is. It's great. And it's nothing generic at all. And I think that's what I love about Street Fighter 2. Each character had their own little theme song, and it was their identity, basically. And that's what helped distinguish each character's separately. Not just their fighting moves in the game. It's not just the powers that they have. It's not just their personality. But the music makes up for all of that. It builds all of that around it. So, a little bit of history, just a brief history here. So who was the mastermind behind the music of Street Fighter 2? Well, I apologize in advance if I mispronounced the name, but her name is Yoko Shimomura. Yoko Shimomura, that is her name, who was really young when she actually composed the music for Street Fighter 2. I think she was in her 20s, because now she's in her 50s, but she was this kid who just was an incredible musician who composed for Street Fighter 2. What else was there? Kingdom Hearts, she helped out with that as well. I think also did was it Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga in 2003. I'm not too sure how many people would know about that game, but it's really awesome. And there's also, of course, she did the Final Fight game, if you guys remember that. It's a really great game as well if you guys love fighting games, if you're a gamer. For me, I am that kind of person. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those RPG kind of guys unless you're playing unless we talk about South Park, Stick of Truth, and Fractured But Whole, then I would definitely talk to you guys about that in terms of RPG. But other than that, I'm more of an action-adventure guy. I love fighting games too. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are my favorite ones for sure. But going back to Street Fighter 2, Yoko Shimomura is an incredible composer for Street Fighter 2 for the soundtrack, and she actually started off doing piano and I guess just music in general at the age of 4 or 5, somewhere around there. So that is really impressive because I did not start playing piano until I was about 10 years old. That was my 9 or 10, but that was when I first started playing piano, and I guess that which is pretty average because I mean, usually younger kids who try to learn at the age of 4 or 5, they don't have much patience for it, right? And they just goof around. But that's just from my personal experience, from what I've seen. But having someone who's about that young age at 4 or 5 who was willing to learn piano and does a good job at it and ends up composing for video games such as Street Fighter 2 for Capcom, the video game company, I think that's amazing. And that shows the interest, the drive, the passion. That's awesome. It says it all. And going back to the soundtrack itself, Street Fighter 2 soundtrack is just good. It's memorable because I feel like Yoko was not only a background music composer, I think she was a songwriter when it comes to the Street Fighter 2 soundtrack, because when you think about the Street Fighter 2 soundtrack, you're thinking about the characters. You think about what's happening. When you're fighting when you're playing the game, you're fighting your opponent, right? And when you're fighting your opponent, a fighting game should have exciting music, something that is in your face. It can be heavy metal, it could be just something like very upbeat, basically. And Street Fighter 2 does the job for that. And again, props to Yoko Shimomura. Again, sorry if I mispronounced the name. Shimomura, she really made the game awesome. I know she composed most of the music, except there's I think 3 pieces that she did not compose, but still, I think it's awesome. Scott on TikTok says Street Fighter 2 is the only game with 1,300 versions of one game, and that's so true. You know what? Street Fighter 2, I will have to admit, it is great. I mean, Street Fighter 3, I did not mind at all, but Street Fighter 4, I enjoyed a whole lot more than Street Fighter 3. Just in being honest with you guys. But I do have Street Fighter 4. I have Street Fighter 5, and pretty cool games, I would say. But yeah, Street Fighter 2 is definitely the classic, only because it was just so different. It really stood out from other fighting games. Of course, I will have to say Mortal Kombat is another one I love to talk about, but Street Fighter 2, I say in terms of music, it stands out the most. Again, like I say, the soundtrack itself, I think, is written by a songwriter. It's songwriting, basically. I mean, when you listen to Guile's theme song and you listen to Ken's theme song, those are the ones that stood out to me the most. And I love it. Actually, okay, I mean, Ryu's theme song is also just as good. But my personal favorites are going to be Guile and Ken. They have really fantastic songs, and it just reflects who they are in terms of personality. We know that these are like serious American dudes just trying to fight through life, and for Guile, he is seeking revenge against M. Bison because he destroyed his friend Charlie, who of course we know he eventually came back to Street Fighter in Street Fighter 4 and 5. Yeah, eventually he came back. But anyways, but going back to that, I found that it was just so cool of what Street Fighter 2 could do. It almost feels like it's not only songwriting, but it also tells a story. It just says a lot about the character. And I mean, there's nothing else I can say about that in Street Fighter 2 except it really does tell a story. And speaking of stories, I mean, I've raved a lot about the characters' theme songs, which I think is great. But can we also go to the ending themes? When every character that you play in Street Fighter 2 has an ending, right? And so you watch the ending, like an ending sequence, and the background music can be very fitting. I mean, okay, I'll admit some stuff is pretty corny, but it's meant to be corny because it is partially for kids, I guess, in a way. Depends which character that you're playing, but you look at Guile's ending, for instance. He had just like this really cool ending music when he gets together with his family again after defeating Bison at the Street Fighter tournament. But it's so cool, it's like this music that you hear in the background when Guile hangs out with his family. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like family. It sounds like peace. It's like Guile is no longer seeking revenge anymore. And I think that's what I like about that. You can say the same thing. Like even E Honda's ending music is just so fitting. It's really cool Japanese background music, and he's teaching his students how to do sumo wrestling, and it's really awesome to see something like that. And it fits his character really well. It's happy. He defeated Bison, and it's just cool, happy-go-lucky, passing on skills to a new generation kind of ending, basically, which I think is great. Hello, I just want to say hello to Kaden on TikTok. Thank you so much. Good to see you again, man. Hope you are doing well. Let me know how you've been doing. So anyways, just going back to the topic again. So the Street Fighter, even the ending credits for Street Fighter 2 was actually really cool. I enjoyed it. It's happy music, and it just says thank you for playing, all that stuff, right? Actually, FYI, you can only get that that credit music sequence at the end if you play it at a certain difficult level on Super Nintendo, for example. So yeah, that's a little note on that. Anyways, I find that again, Street Fighter 2, like Yoko Shimomura and the other composers in Street Fighter 2 know what they were doing. I can tell it was well thought out. They probably had a bunch of different composition ideas, and they probably had to listen through each carefully and to see which one fits which character, which one fits which scene, all that stuff. Even, I would say, of course, the opening title for Street Fighter 2 is good. Sorry, Scott says, now I have to play Street Fighter 2 to appreciate the music you speak of. Thank you, Scott. Yes, if you still have your Super NES or whatever game console you have handy, please feel free to play it right now, or maybe after this podcast is over. And yeah, I think it's great. Onyx111111 it says, hello from Niagara Falls, Canada. Thank you so much for joining us, Onyx, on TikTok. I really appreciate you stopping by to say hi. For Real 41 says, what do you think about Tekken? Tekken's a great game, honestly. I have Tekken 2, and I got Tekken 5? Yeah, I got Tekken 5, which is also a great game. Both are great. But honestly, though, musically speaking, I mean, like I say, Street Fighter 2 is the king of soundtracks, in my personal opinion. If you want a bigger picture on that, I think Capcom writes amazing songs. Capcom is... Any of those games that came out of Capcom, I mean, think about it this way. Think about the DuckTales soundtrack from the NES game, from the old Nintendo game 8-bit. The Moon theme is probably one of the most popular ones from that game. So DuckTales, the Moon theme, I mean, that's from Capcom. Mega Man, the Mega Man soundtrack, that is from Capcom as well, right? Mega Man's a Capcom game. And it's cool to see such amazing games and experience listening to such great music coming from that games from that specific company. I think it's awesome. Street Fighter 2, I would say, has a really cool opening sequence as well, right? You know, da 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 da, right? So that pretty much is that screams opening sequence to a game. To an action game. You know it's going to be action. You know it's going to be fun. You know there's going to be excitement. You know it's not going to slow down anytime soon. And I think that's what I like about the opening theme for Street Fighter 2. It just brings that excitement. Like I said last week when I was talking about WWE pro wrestling and music, you need the right music to bring the excitement when it comes to sports. When it comes to competition, Street Fighter 2 is that. It's competition. It's adventurous. It's epic. So what do we need? We need some upbeat music to get the crowd going. Street Fighter 2 does such a great job with that. And that's why Street Fighter 2 will forever be the large part of my childhood, not just in terms of video games, but in terms of having an amazing soundtrack that I will never forget. So what are my thoughts about the other Street Fighter games? Okay, well, let me put it this way. I think they're so much fun. I think the third one it's okay, but it's not. I think that the characters were a little bit some characters were kind of forgettable, but that's just my opinion, of course. But Street Fighter 4 I liked a lot better than Part 3. There was more character to uh to the cast that you can actually select to play as, and I think it's awesome. Street Fighter 5 is also just as good in my personal opinion. Of course, I know people have different opinions about Street Fighter 5, but I got used to it. It's grown on me, so which is great. But yeah, the soundtrack, I mean, pretty much when you think about it this way, Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5, and even like Street Fighter Alpha, all those games out there, the soundtrack is great, but I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, you hear like different versions of the theme song, basically, of the characters. So you'll hear like a cool remix version of Ryu's theme song, or Guile's theme song, or a remix version of Ken's theme song, or Akuma's theme song. It goes on, right? And of course, for new characters, it's just something different, But my own opinion, however, is just that with the newer characters, I think they seem to be given generic background music, which I wish they could do just a little better on. But that's just me on that. But anywho, I think when it comes to what's that game? Oh, X-Men versus Street Fighter. They actually do a good job recreating the Street Fighter 2 characters' music, which is great. Even like when they did Charlie's theme music in X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which you can probably find on not on Super Nintendo. It's on PlayStation 1. Yes, that's right. So X-Men vs. Street Fighter, if you listen to Charlie's theme song on that one, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds better than what I've heard on Street Fighter Alpha before, because that's where Charlie's theme music comes from, with Street Fighter Alpha. So, yeah, there you go, folks. Now, I think I would say even Chun-Li's theme music was done pretty well. It describes who she is, where she's from. She's from China, and that music that was being put on there, I thought it was perfect. That's just my personal opinion. Delsum's music was great. It fits him. He's a guy from India, and the music that was provided was well done. Of course, guys, like I say, these are all my opinions. If you disagree, you're more than welcome to state your opinion and just let me know why. I am all ears to hear why you think it. Some songs may not be the best in certain games like Street Fighter 2. The character selection I thought was really cool, like right, and it just says select your character. It screams that, because I think that if you put it in other parts of a game, it may not sit well. It just may not fit well, basically. And so it goes back to what I say. I think the not only the composers, but I think the music supervisors, whoever it was, they thought this really carefully. They've analyzed each tune and really think it through and see which one is best for which scene in the game, and which one they probably even think about which ones they need to scrap too, because I'm pretty sure there's probably tons of compositions out there that were submitted for Street Fighter 2, but it was hard for the staff to decide which ones to use because they can't use all of them. So assumingly they probably just have a bunch of tunes and they just find the right one. And again, I think it's great to have a musical supervisor who can select the best song into any scene of any movie, video game, TV show, commercial, even, you name it. Whoever, I find out that can be a tough job, because it's not just because you have to have a good ear for music, but the problem is that you have so many options. You have almost too many options nowadays too, especially. So if you have a huge library of music and you have to narrow down to pick which one's the best one that fits well to the soundtrack. Scott says, I think Square Enix plus the most thought into atmospheric music. You know what, Scott? I cannot argue with you on that one, my friend. I think that's a really good point that you brought up. Cool. So, again, folks, I think that Street Fighter 2 brings a good example of what music should be, how music plays such a big role in video games. Street Fighter 2, it's competition, it's adventure, it's epic, it's storytelling. And it's such a good example. It is one of my favorite. I think, again, it's the best role model for video game soundtracks in general. And I think they deserve the applause. Yoko Shimomura, the musical supervisors in post-production, I think those people should be given a pat on the back if they haven't done, if it's not been given to them. But I would say they deserve all the applause. My hat's off to them so much for just being a part of an experience that has made our childhood and current generations of gamers, giving us a memorable experience that we will never forget. So it's not just through the eyes, but it's also through the ears. Those are my thoughts about Street Fighter 2, and that concludes this portion of the podcast. So, with all that being said, now we can move on to the next portion of our podcast, which is open Q&A from you, the audience, on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. So you guys can feel free to ask me a question, put in your comments. And today, because we talked about Street Fighter 2, tell us about your favorite video game soundtracks. Which one did you guys like? I know one of you guys already said Final Fantasy VII, which is fair enough. And of course, people have also mentioned Square Enix, of course. Yeah. What else is there? I mean, there is a number of great soundtracks out there. Of course, who can never forget Donkey Kong Country? David Wise is a great composer. I've covered Donkey Kong Country on my YouTube channel, so you can go to my YouTube channel and check out those covers I made from the soundtrack. I had a great time covering them too. It was amazing. It was so awesome. Okay, so Aaron says, hey, I just want to say, hope you have a good life and stay positive, stay strong, stay safe. No problem, Aaron. Thank you so much for the kind message, my friend. Scott says, Abu Japanese game company seems to respect the power of music. Scott, I agree. Yes. Aaron said, Eric says, any questions? Sorry. Scott says, Eddie. So sorry. Not Abu Japanese. He says, any Japanese game company that seems to respect the power of music. Yes, that is very true, Scott. You have a really good point there. Scott says, Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite games ever. Scott, I'm really glad you enjoyed that. So again, like I said, Scott, if you, and to everybody out there, go to my YouTube channel. I have covered the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack stuff, so go on there. You will not be disappointed. Again, I've had a really good time covering the music from there. It's awesome. And thank you guys for the kind response if you've listened to it already and left the kind comments on my videos. I really appreciate that so very much. But, of course, props to David Wise, who is the mastermind behind the music. He's a fantastic human being, great composer, and all that stuff. So let's talk. So guys, any other questions that you have related to music? If you want to talk about video game music, even this is a good time to do so now. Feel free to type in the comment section below, whether you're on Twitch, TikTok, or on YouTube. Type it in. I would just love to talk to you guys about video game music in general. Maybe in the meantime, while I'm waiting for more questions to pop up, I really do enjoy the F-Zero soundtrack as well. Not gonna lie, I like that level, Mute City on Super Nintendo. Da 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 na 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 na. That that one's actually really cool. If you guys haven't checked it out, I would suggest you should do so. You don't have to play the game to enjoy the music. That's the cool thing. Because for myself, I'll throw an example here. I don't play Final Fantasy. It's not my cup of tea. It's just RPGs is just not my thing. It's very time consuming, right? And I just have personal preferences when it comes to video games. But one thing I will admire so much is that the soundtrack's amazing. The graphics are amazing, obviously. But yeah, I think those are two things I like about it. But yeah, I would say the music from Final Fantasy, both 7 and 8, are solid. Mega solid. Scott is asking, have you ever played the Life is Strange games? Amazing games and used music to move you. Scott, I've never played that before, but thank you so much for bringing that up. I think that's awesome. Of course, when it comes to soundtracks, I love God of War. Oh my goodness. You want to talk about epic, adventurous soundtracks? It makes it feel like you're in this experiencing this cinematic uh adventure. God of War's music on all parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, amazing. Oh my goodness. The person that whoever composed that, it goes like da 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 da. That one, oh man. Like, I would say go on YouTube and check that out. The cousin Kaylin on TikTok says hi. Thanks for joining into my podcast, Music Talk Mondays, Kaylin. I really appreciate that. And yeah, again, folks, tell me about your favorite video game soundtracks. Which ones do you like the most? Which ones are you currently enjoying right now for new games? Let me know in the comment sections. I would love to hear from you guys. Please engage with me. I would love to hear from you all. Again, today we talked about Street Fighter 2. I think it is the role model of soundtracks when it comes to video games. Hello, Sage from Arizona. Thanks for joining in as well. Thank you for tuning in to my podcast. Scott's asking, what game systems do I presently own? Right now, I have PlayStation 1, I got PlayStation 2, I got PlayStation 3 and 4. So I'm a PlayStation guy, but I have always been a Nintendo kid too during my childhood. So I used to have the NES, but I gave it to one of my relatives, but I still have my Super Nintendo, which is why I will from time to time play Street Fighter 2. So I'll be honest with you guys. Once I hit, even when I hit my 40s and 50s, I'm still gonna play these games because, again, this is a huge part of my childhood. So that's just me, guys. Like, I'm pretty sure most gamers, I would say, are around the Gen X and up, or yeah, Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z, and beyond. A lot of gamers are going to be at that age. So I think it's really cool to even see folks still play video games, even if you're the older folks. But we learn from the best too, right? James says. James on TikTok says, video game soundtracks, nothing new, but Chrono Trigger stands out. Yes, James, I will agree with you on that. I don't play Chrono Trigger, but I've heard the soundtrack. It's amazing. Scott says, look up the trailers for Life is Strange and give me your thoughts. James says, still rocking my SNES, brother. Thanks for the inspiration. No problem, James. I'm really glad you still rock the SNES, my friend. It's the ultimate system. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy the classic NES games, but Super Nintendo, I think, stands out a lot more just because it really did revolutionize the way we play video games. And people still love it. Even younger generations have told me that they enjoy Super Nintendo as well, which is great. And I got some elementary school friends who actually got their kids to play Super Nintendo, and I think that's awesome just to share that kind of stuff to your kids as well, which is awesome. Now, I think it's really cool, though, when I see on YouTube people doing different covers of popular classic video games. There's people who do awesome metal renditions of the Mega Man soundtrack, which I think is really hard to do, but I salute those guys who are such skilled musicians who can pull that off. And of course, I think all of us know about that guy who played drums to the Super Mario soundtrack as well. I think the first time I heard that guy, he was playing drums to Super Mario 2, which I think is really cool. I think it's awesome that he did that. So, what else is there? Well, I'm going to say this straight up. I mean, this is not original music, but GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5 has a good selection of popular songs. Like, they have classic rock, they got indie, they got pop, they even have like Spanish music as well, and all that stuff too. So great selection right there. James says, keep up the guitar tutorials. Been playing for 19 years. Love my Jasmine Takamines. Awesome, James. Scott says, ever gone to Tommy Tallarico Video Games live concert? I have twice. It's great. I have not, Scott, but I envy you. That is awesome that you've been there. So thank you so much again for people who do come to my TikTok channel and enjoy my guitar tutorials, which is great. That's awesome for you guys to do that. Again, so if you guys don't know about my TikTok channel, I have two things. I do guitar tutorials on how to play songs on guitar in just under 1 minute. And then my other one, you can catch me playing piano, playing renditions of popular music. But again, the cool thing about TikTok is that you can use the duet feature to sing along to my piano videos. So, and so far, I got some really cool responses. I've had people who've actually duet on my piano videos, and I got some really cool local talent in my hometown and people from around the world. I have this really cool guy from New Zealand named Matt who actually does a good job singing along to my stuff as well. I have people in the States who sing along to my videos. I think it's amazing. I think this creates, I think both my guitar tutorials and the piano videos are, I think it's really cool on how people respond to it, but I think it's awesome that it's creating this cool sense of community as well. So I really appreciate you guys with your positive attitude, just to be encouraging to one another and just sharing the content that I provide to you guys each time. So again, you guys are awesome for that. I always find that just from my personal experience so far, the tutorials I post on my TikTok, they seem to blow up pretty good on Friday for some reason. My guess is because Friday is the end of the week. It's the start of the weekend, so everybody wants to kick back, relax, and check out what's cool on TikTok. So I think you guys are so awesome for that. You guys did a good job to make it a really cool thing. So again, thank you all. You guys have been amazing. So, oh yes, again, speaking of video game soundtracks, if you haven't checked it out on my YouTube channel yet, my friend Bryce Tabish and we covered Ocarina of Time from Zelda, Ocarina of Time. What was it? Saria's song. So, or Saria's song. Sorry. Hopefully I did not mispronounce that. But yeah, check that out on my YouTube channel. We've covered the Ocarina of Time on YouTube. I had such a great time doing that cover as well. Again, my friend Bryce approached me about this because he actually bought a legit ocarina. He played that actual theme song, like da 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 da, and I'm just like, we gotta do something with that. And so I added, I programmed my drums, I added guitar, I added bass, and we just made a really cool metal version of it basically. And we just just kept getting faster, faster, and faster. I won't give away too much of it, so you guys go to my YouTube channel and check out my Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time cover. It will be on there. I think you guys will have a great time listening to that. All right. Well, if you guys have any other questions related to video game music for today, I think I would love to talk to you guys about that. Any other questions, feel free, ask away, guys. It is the open Q&A portion of my podcast. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we are live on Twitch, on TikTok, and on YouTube, all three platforms. Again, hello to each and every one of you. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, if this is your first time, welcome. It's awesome to have you guys here. And of course, to all my returning guests, my returning listeners, viewers, you guys are also amazing as well. Thank you again for making this podcast a really cool experience. So what else is there? Okay, now someone was asking me about the Tekken video game series. I really do enjoy it. The music itself in the game, it's kind of forgettable, unfortunately, only because, I mean, whoever wrote that was, I mean, I think they were just all about the just the fighting, but not too much about the actual soundtrack that would make it stand out. Now, when it comes to fighting games, besides Street Fighter 2, as that was my topic for today, I actually like the opening or the character selection theme for Soul Calibur 4 specifically. And the reason why I say that is because it has this really it has this really catchy melody. Dun da 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 da. It kind of has like this cool, like you're watching CNN kind of music, but it's like this cool, adventurous, epic, medieval style of music. But it kind of has that, gives me that news reporter kind of vibes at the same time too. So that's just me, of course. But I really find that with Soul Calibur 4, they know how to be epic, which I think is great. So let me guys, and to all you guys here, all the viewers here, to the audience, let me know, what do you guys enjoy in terms of soundtrack? Do you have any favorite video game soundtracks? Do you have a favorite movie soundtrack even, or do you have a favorite TV show soundtrack? Do you have a favorite TV theme song? Do you have a favorite movie theme song that you guys always enjoy? I know people come here and they tell me that they like the Harry Potter theme song, for example. Of course, anything John Williams creates as well. Jurassic Park, right? Superman, obviously. Indiana Jones. Schindler's List. The list goes on and on. Harry Gregson Williams is a great composer as well. I don't know if he's related to John Williams. I mean, I would not be surprised if that was the case. But Harry Gregson Williams writes the theme from Metal Gear Solid. Wrote the theme to Shrek, Donkey, and he also wrote the theme to the movie The Rock, which featured Sean Connery. He also wrote the theme. I'm just trying to remember what else Harry Gregson Williams wrote. And he wrote a bunch of other. Oh no, he actually did the opening. He did the music also for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe from the 2005 version. Yeah, Harry Gregson Williams. He's a complete genius. Danny Elfman. Of course, we knew Danny Elfman as being the lead guy for Oingo Boingo, the 80s group, but then he ended up composing for The Simpsons. Was it did he do The Nightmare Before Christmas? Oh, okay. I mean, all the Tim Burton stuff, that's all him as well. And other movie-related stuff. So Danny Elfman is actually quite the genius when it comes to writing soundtracks as well. So, yeah, folks, just let me know. Do you have any favorite soundtracks? Do you have your could it be? It could even be musicals. We can talk about musicals too, like Andrew Lloyd Webber, who I think is one of my favorites when it comes to musicals. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is great. Starlight Express, Jesus Christ Superstar, Cats. Now, of course, we do not want to speak about the Cats movie that came out back in 2019. I know I have not seen it. I guess thank goodness, because everybody has said that it was actually one of the worst films that came out that year. So if you guys have watched Cats, I'm just gonna say you guys are brave, but for putting up with it, if it was that actually legit that bad. But if you guys actually have seen the Cats movie and you think it's otherwise, if you think it's not as bad as everyone has said it was, I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know, like how was it actually good? Because I like to hear different point of views in that department. But the Cats soundtrack, you can't deny it's beautiful. I mean, Memory is obviously the song. That's like the ultimate anthem for all Andrew Lloyd Webber lovers out there. Phantom of the Opera has good stuff too. Music of the Night is my personal favorite. My dad likes. There was another one that I just keep forgetting his names, but I'll look it up later. But I know there's like another soundtrack from Phantom of the Opera. There's another song from Phantom of the Opera that my dad likes. The theme, of course, everyone knows the opening theme. Da, 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 right, everyone knows that one. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty badass. Like, if you listen to one of the recordings that on the CD, it has like electric guitars and everything. It's like, oh, it's metal. That's awesome. Kind of metal-ish in a way, just to add more edge to it, which I think is great. I think it's awesome. So yes, again, I'll love to hear from you guys too. Soundtrack. Let's talk about it. Favorite composers, favorite movie soundtrack, and all that stuff. Hello, Jello on YouTube. Welcome on TikTok. Thank you again for popping by to my podcast as well. Again, thank you to all the first timers who are tuning into my podcast, who are listening. Again, you guys are just amazing people, just for sticking around, just hanging out with me, and just talking about all things related to music. Again, I do this every Monday night, and I think it's cool just to hang out with you guys here. I think it's amazing. I know that I'm always so used to performing to you guys when I go live, but just being able to actually just have a nice casual podcast where we just sit down and just talk about music, I think that's just another cool experience itself. And I think engaging with you guys is awesome. I think just hearing from you guys, your guys' musical interest, musical taste, in terms of instruments, songs, albums, and all that stuff. It's cool to hear from you guys. Going back to the topic on Street Fighter 2, actually, just want to go back just a little bit here. I know this is the open Q&A portion of it, but just going back, I really do enjoy Sagat's theme song. It's like a cool, interesting mix of like jazz mixed with like 80s and a little bit of rock, I guess. It's kind of funky. It has this really interesting kind of melody to it. But again, if it was composed by Yoko Shimomura, who composed most of the songs in Street Fighter 2, she did a pretty good job composing that. And I think it's really catchy. It's like that cool like trumpet sound, like da 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 da. Oh, yes, Jade Weeks Beats for Day says Mega Man theme song, Mega Man 2, my friend, and Mega Man 3. I think Mega Man 2 and 3 are probably my personal favorite ones. Because when we talk about soundtracks, again, Mega Man and Street Fighter both came from the same company, which is Capcom. And as Scott on TikTok said earlier, a lot of these Japanese game companies, they care so much about the musical portion of these games, which I think is very true. And Mega Man, even when you think about Mega Man 2, Dr. Wily's castle level, that is epic. That says, I'm on a journey. I'm going to go defeat Dr. Wily and his goons to make sure we put an end to their evilness. And I think that's what I like about that. The opening theme to Mega Man 2 was also just as good, too. Obviously, again, like if you see the opening sequence of Mega Man 2, they show you like a little story, like some blurbs, text blurbs on what they say is happening or what has happened. Mega Man's doing this, blah, blah, blah. And then the camera pans, and then you have Mega Man staying on top of a building, right? Getting ready to kick some butt. And again, Capcom knows how to tell a story. They look at the scenes very carefully, and they're just like, okay, here we are. We're telling a story. We're going to build around this because we want to develop this character. We actually want to give people the atmosphere. We want to give this character some personality. And so it's because at that time, don't forget, we're talking about 8-bit games here that happened like almost 40 years ago, over 30 plus years ago, basically. And telling a story, I mean, of course, there's no talking yet, right? Like they did not have that technology for game characters to talk yet. So what better way to express, what better way to tell a story than through the music itself? And yeah, it's 8-bit, but man, does it work, because again, Capcom composers provide great melodies. They know how to write not just background music, but they know how to write a song. It's a song. Mega Man 2's theme is a song. Dun 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 dun. Right? And it's catchy melodies because Capcom wants you to remember these characters. They want you to remember the game itself. They want you to remember the experience. That is what makes a good game soundtrack. And that's why, like I say earlier, Capcom does a great job with that. Street Fighter 2, Mega Man, even, like I said, DuckTales themes. The DuckTales video game back from NES, memorable. The Moon theme, right? The Moon theme is just awesome. Something like that, yeah. I should probably cover that one day. I don't know. It's actually not easy, but it is a really cool tune itself. And now we also talk about... Oh, yeah, that's right. The Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers video game on NES as well. It has a really good soundtrack. If you guys haven't checked that out, you guys should. I suggest just go on YouTube. You don't have to play the game. Like I said, you do not have to play the game. You even just go on YouTube, look up these soundtracks, and just listen to it. It's just like, oh, man, this is so cool. This is so memorable. It's catchy. It's going to be stuck in my head for a long time. Exactly what Capcom wants to give you, that memorable experience. And I will say the same thing about Final Fantasy. Like I say, I've never really played Final Fantasy. Not my kind of game. But I can appreciate the soundtrack itself. Again, it's good stuff. Well, folks, that pretty much concludes today's podcast. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. And don't forget, if you want to catch the replay of this podcast, you can find it on my YouTube, and you can find it on my Twitch as well, all under EddieLamMusic. So thank you guys so much for checking this out. And make sure you just tune in. Again, website, EddieLamMusic.ca. I got my social media is EddieLamMusic. So I got Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All those platforms. And I would love for you guys to just keep in touch with me. I want to keep in touch with you too. Let's connect and talk more about music. I'll be back again next week, and we will talk about more things related to music, whether it be our favorite artists, bands, instruments, songs, albums, soundtracks, and much more. I'm your host, Eddie Lam, and I just want to say, stay in touch, stay safe, and stay on.